Los Cabos Drumsticks present
Quarter notes.
All right. So, hello everyone. No, that's
Hello.
terrible.
That was
Hello.
great.
Hello everyone.
Hello. Bonjour tout le monde.
Bienvenue chez Quarter
Good. What is quarter notes en français?
Note.
Car?
Cog de nut. It's always backwards.
Car de note.
Cog de no. Nut.
Car
Nut.
de note.
Yeah.
Ah. Bienvenue tout le monde.
Welcome.
It's like when you take the ferry. You're like, your attention, please.
Yeah.
Votre attention, s'il vous plaît. I guess that could be anywhere. But,
That could be. Anyway, welcome to Quarter Notes, everybody.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
I'm Dre.
I'm Rich.
And we're your co-hosts for the evening. We're gonna talk a bunch of drumstick stuff. The topic, as you've probably known, because I'll have it listed as the topic, the title for the episode, is in fact drumsticks, and a couple other things we're going to throw in there. Got a
little
bit,
fun nuggets.
some nuggets. I've got some trivia.
Oh, I love the trivia.
It's not, I won't say it's trivia per se, but it is some information about Los Cabos drumsticks that is unique to the brand. And we're going to deep dive a little bit because it is a drumstick episode. And that is that most drumsticks are made out of hickory, standard white hickory, some maple as well. But Los Cabos are the only major drumstick company that uses red hickory, which is the heartwood of the tree. So it's the denser, more, I guess, yeah, just denser. It's the centerpiece of the tree. So yeah, so it's, I find it feels heavier. It definitely hits harder and lasts a lot longer than standard hickory. But that's something that Los Cabos offers, and it's great for people that, drummers that hit hard, playing like metal or any type of hardcore or hard rock. And it's all about preference. So I personally prefer the white hickory, but I'm not, I've been known to use red hickory now and again. So
cool. I tried the red hickories out and I liked them, but I also like the white hickories, and that's what I play. And I'll tell you, they stick around.
They do.
They don't break easily.
No, I've got some drumsticks here that we're going to get into, but just so people can see the difference between dropping stuff. So this is a white hickory drumstick. I don't know if you can see that there. My camera's kind of not focusing. That's a rock white hickory. It's a monster drumstick. And then this is a red hickory rock drumstick. Right. So if you put them side by side, you can see the clear difference between the woods. And dimensions are the same. They weigh the same technically, but I find that just in my hand, it feels like denser. And that's just probably a tactile thing. I'd have to like get a weight and measure the grams and all that stuff. But
I wonder if there's like the way they feel in the hand, the vibration of one to the other must be a bit different.
I can't probably, yeah.
I can't remember.
Maybe I'll start doing white hickory on my right hand for like all my cymbal work, and then beat the shit out of my snare drum with a red hickory. Because the rim shots, I mean, these drumsticks last like insane, but the red hickories last a bit longer. And I think I've only ever broken one red hickory stick ever.
Wow.
So anyway, but yeah, drumsticks, Los Cabos drumsticks specifically.
Who would have thought we'd get around to talking about drumsticks
on a drumstick
podcast, drumstick company podcast?
Oh, did you know that this podcast is presented by Los Cabos drumsticks?
We didn't do a proper intro.
No, we didn't.
No.
One day we will. So, okay. Do you want to do drumsticks?
That wasn't the trivia. What's the trivia? That was, you already gave the trivia. The trivia was that it's
It's the red hickory versus white hickory. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it wasn't really trivia. It was like we're gonna have that NBC star flyover with The More You Know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I do know a bit more now.
Okay. All right. Cool. So do you want to do drumsticks or do you want to
Yeah,
do
let's dive right into drumsticks.
just keep going drumsticks?
Oh, you know
All right.
what? Let's drop one of our faves, and
Okay.
then we'll talk drumsticks, and we'll
We'll
drip them as
we'll just go all over the place through
yeah,
it. This is going to be the most out there podcast we've ever
wacky.
done.
It's gonna be wacky.
It's just crazy. All right. So we each picked three drummers from different categories, if you will. Not genres, but in the line of recently discovered.
Mhm.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're just fresh off the boat, but someone that we've kind of not really dived into until recently. And we're going to do a rediscovered, so someone that we listened to before and then have recently cycled back and we're kind of getting back into them again.
Mhm.
And third, and this is not going to be in any particular order, but the other category is someone that we've always been listening to and kind of has always been there throughout our journey that we've, not necessarily emulated, but clearly influence and admire what they do.
Mhm.
So why don't you go first?
Okay.
And it can be from either category.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go to rediscovered.
Okay.
Go into rediscovery, and it is Dave Weckl, the drummer Dave Weckl. He is so good. He was like when I was first coming out, first like learning the drums and like in high school and stuff. He had like we talked a bit about this another time. Like he had like a VHS when there weren't as many instructional videos. But like, yeah, I didn't understand how amazing he was at that time, and I've since gone back and like I mean I knew it was amazing, but recently I've gone back, just found some things on YouTube and like watching with like Chick Corea Electric Band, for example. Also, I think there was like a Brecker Brothers reunion video I watched recently, and yeah, it was like he's just like it just seems like so fluid and like whatever he wants to do, it seems like he can do it, and it's all like 100% flawless. And I just love that it's playing, and it's very 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 musical.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
not just chopsy for chopsy's sake. You throw it's a lot of musicality in with the chops.
Yeah. And a lot of that is to do with his dynamic range. Like,
Oh yeah, big time.
yeah.
Yeah. Work
Weckl,
goes around the toms like nobody. It's so good.
and he's always played Yamaha drums.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, that's why I started playing Yamaha drums was my brother, when you're talking about those VHS cassettes, um, when he was learning how to play, that's kind of how he discovered Weckl and was kind of getting into that, him and Steve Gadd, and both guys Yamaha players. And then he got that VHS called Back to Basics. And when I was starting to kind of, older brother and you want to, impress him. So I always was tapping on stuff anyway, but then he wanted me to start learning how to play the drums for real. And he just gave me that VHS cassette and was like, everything you need to know, it's right here. So, yeah. So, yeah, Weckl goes all the way to like my origin story.
That's cool.
So yeah, he's one of those guys that could have been my always there, but that's a different guy.
Yeah, I guess he could have been my always there too.
Yeah. But yeah, Weckl is an amazing player.
I would just love to do this segment every time we talk, because there's so many great drummers. There's like so many people.
Oh, we could definitely do
like
top three of, this is just those three categories. We should do top three of a specific category each week.
Okay. If anybody's still listening out there,
no
send
guarantees.
an email. Send an email. Let me know if you're a fan of Dave Weckl, and if so, what I should go check out.
Yeah,
I would love
absolutely.
this be a little interactive.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Hmm.
All right, who you
My,
got?
my
Who you
square
got?
mug.
Wow, is that a
Yeah.
bank?
No, it's for anyone that knows what this is. They already know.
Police.
This is the TARDIS from Doctor Who.
Oh.
It's a telephone police box, and it actually comes with, when you want to keep your coffee hot,
Hmm,
a little lid. Look
look
at
at
that.
that. Look at that.
I'm just drinking water.
Okay.
It's too late for coffee.
You could put your change in there. I hit up the Dandy Blend.
Oh,
Shout out to Dandy Blend. Not a sponsor, but it's a coffee
Dandy Blend.
substitute. It's a
We're
coffee
gonna.
substitute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that okay, we're gonna go sidetrack. Is that like one of those like mushroom or plant-based?
Dandelions.
Okay.
Roasted dandelion.
Dandy. Yeah, I should have
Dandy
known.
Blend. Oh, well, hey, why would you know? But yeah, it's
I thought it was like a PEI thing.
pretty good. It's not PEI. It's out in your any health section of many larger grocery stores or health food stores.
Cool.
So pick up your Dandy Blend.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Okay, well, since you did Rediscovered, I'll also do Rediscovered so we don't go all completely off the rails.
Mhm.
So do I want to say? Okay, sure. So I'm in a private, not really private Facebook group, but I play Sabian cymbals. I'm not endorsed, but I've recently switched to Sabian cymbals. Full kit. Shout out to Randy. And so in that group, we're talking about different cymbals and whatever. And we also post videos of, people playing the cymbals and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of nerd out on cymbals. It's a good time. But this is one guy and he used to play them back in the day,
Mm.
posted a video because he's also in the group. And so I checked out the video. Killer track. It was one of those unheard, unreleased tracks. It was a private video. So only people in the group could see it. And so anyway, I sent him a message, just saying, awesome. Always loved your playing. And it's ex Pearl Jam drummer Dave Aberzies. I haven't listened to Pearl Jam in like a long time and remembered how unbelievably good Verses and Vitology were. And might be controversial. I think it's because of his drumming. Every song on there that he's playing the drums is a monster drum track. The snares are just cranked. Like, even if you're like just kind of grooving along to it, you can hear the intensity that he's playing the drums when he was recording them. Like, I don't like, they must have had some killer mics because he would have been like redlining the whole time. But also in his playing, the like super finesse work that he did with the cymbals, because he could do like little ghost notes and little syncopations on like his hi-hat with his ride into like the splash cymbals and like just super tasteful. And you really listen to it, you'd understand like his vocabulary was just on another level. Love Matt Cameron. I think Dave was the guy for that band. He was just unbelievable.
Well, right on.
So also could be controversial, but whatever. I don't care.
Hey, you know what, man? We're not afraid of controversy in this podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sabian cymbals is, yeah. So anyway, sent him a message, thanked him for his playing. He was super cool. He responded, super gracious, super
Gracious.
What's the word? Yeah, that's the word. I can't even talk. I was like taken aback that he actually responded, because I mean, probably gets messages all the time, but it seems like a super chill dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Dave Aberzies, Rediscovered. And if you haven't discovered him or you've slept on him for a while, go back, listen to his stuff, man. Unbelievable.
That's cool. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Oh, let me know what you
I'm
think
a
of that.
I'm guilty of being a sleeper.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 2 drummers down, or one of each. So,
yeah.
Do we want to go all nerdy on some drumsticks for a bit?
Yeah.
All right. So where did you start? What do you want to start? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, man. Well,
Putting you on the spot.
I'll just say that I play the 5B, Los Cabos 5B Hickory. No bells, no whistles, just 5B white hickory sticks,
It's a
and
workhorse.
they feel amazing. They just feel
Mhm.
amazing in my hands. I did get used to playing a 5B stick. I settled like you know, I'm just me. I'm just little old me. But I did go around and I probably tried like every stick when I was, I mean, over the years, of course, and playing like all sorts of different kinds of styles, like the jazz and folk, and then more rock stuff. And then especially when I started playing with Danko, like before then, I would play like for whatever the context was, and I do think that it's does make sense to switch up sticks for me in different contexts. Like sometimes a 7A actually just feels like if it's kind of if it's a light folk thing,
Mhm.
that just helps. And there's definitely like you're playing a little bit softer too. There's a whole thing. But yeah. Anyway, when I was started playing with Danko, I went again around and like tried like pretty much every drumstick company. Actually, I don't think I had tried Los Cabos in the beginning, but I ended up around a bunch of different uh, sticks, and some I liked, some I didn't like, and I, you know, ended up on one particular 5B brand, and pretty classic brand, and it was amazing. And yeah, and then I was sent a pair of these, and it just even every bit as good as this classic brand of 5B, which I won't name because I'm on the Los Cabos Drumsticks podcast,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, yeah.
people can draw their conclusions, and I found like they're just so durable. They kind of feel the consistency of the wood did feel a little bit different too. Like it just the way it vibrates in my hand. I've said this on another podcast that our drum tech, uh, swore that he thought I started playing better when I switched to Las Cabos, which is, who knows if that's true or not, but
It could be.
it could be.
You
But
play with more confidence, or it's a different feel.
it's just a different feel in the hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's an extension of it's an extension of your body to play your instrument. So that
yeah,
makes
absolutely,
sense. Yeah.
absolutely. And so I very quickly acclimatized to using the sticks, like very, very quickly. Loved them. They've I've never broken a stick on stage or off stage. And what else can I say about them? I have used them in, like, now I can get away with anything that's kind of in the rock genre at all. I can use 5Bs, and even some like folky things I just play quieter, or like kind of like jazz rocky things. I played this jazz rock gig not long
Mhm.
ago, and I could do that. But uh, so there is versatility in the stick, but you can also hit pretty hard as well, and they'll stand
Mhm.
the test of time. So that's not even the red hickory. This is just white hickory, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
And
my plug for the 5B white hickory
um,
drumstick.
just to get a little nerdy on the 5B. So the specs on the 5B is that it's a 16-inch length stick, which is your
Mm-hmm.
standard 5B length.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's 0.598 in diameter.
Hmm.
So that's the thickness of the
I
stick.
thought it was 599, but wow.
No, it's 598.
It
That's what
felt
it
like
says on the
599. It felt like 599
just
in
that
my
extra
hand.
point
Yeah,
one,
it
point oh
felt that,
one.
but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I was wrong.
Has an acorn tip and has a medium taper. So the taper is the part of the stick that goes from the thicker part into the tip.
Mm-hmm.
So if a shorter taper means there's more weight to the front of the stick, and a longer taper means that it's a longer gradual, so the stick ends up being thinner at the top, so it's
Mm.
lighter. So medium is kind of the standard for most sticks.
Yeah.
I'm super nerdy.
Dude, no, it's so
So
good. It's so good. They're so balanced.
yes.
They really are. They just
Yeah.
feel like the perfect weight
Mhm.
in the front and the back.
Yeah. And then acorn tip is also
Oh yeah.
kind of a standard tip. There's oval, there's ball tip. So there's different tips for different sizes and types of sticks, which is something to do with cymbal sound, which we're going to get into on another podcast with a
Nice.
guest, and then we're going to talk drumstick tips out the wazoo.
Nice.
Not this. Not, okay, never mind. I won't go there.
Right. And I hit side stick on a lot of cymbals and hi-hats too, and they don't chew up too badly,
Hmm.
these sticks, for me
Hmm.
anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, in addition to 5B, there's
Mm.
the 5B Intense, which
Mm.
is the same thickness, but it's 16.5 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, still can't clear my throat. So if I have a couple of sticks here, which I'm going to show you guys. So I have a 5B red hickory and I have a 5B intense white hickory. Yeah, so this is the 5B red hickory. It's a drumstick, and this is the 5B intense. So
For those listening, he's holding up a drumstick right now.
yeah,
Now two.
now two. So you can see the tips are the same. The camera angle's a little off in the lighting, so you can't really see, but the taper is the same.
Mhm.
Okay. So which is, from about here to here on both sticks, going from the thicker full size into the tip. So what the 5B Intense does is it adds an extra 1/2 inch on the butt end. So that's more to do with the feel of the stick in your hand. A lot of people play, with the butt end right there at the pinky. So if you do that with a 5B Intense, then you've got that extra reach, which is kind of, when I play, I usually choke up a bit. So it's almost like I'm playing a 5B, but then when I need that extra reach, I just pull the stick up and then I can, ride the bell or, reach further for the tom or whatever. But so that's the difference between a 5B and a 5B Intense, is about a 1/2 inch.
Interesting.
So,
It's interesting. It's that small of a difference. And
Mhm.
to me, when I play those, it feels like a world of difference. Like I really personally preferred the 16 to the 16.5.
Mhm.
And I know it's just a 1/2 inch, but
Yep.
it feels like too much
Yeah.
like stuff in the back end of the stick. But I
Yeah.
get that some drummers just like that, like you said, that extra bit of reach, or they like that. The weight is a bit different to me too, because just where I hold. So like just by that
Well,
extra
yeah.
1/2 inch being back there. But
Well, that's just it. If
so
you're
yeah,
holding the stick choked up, like into like I had it there in the pinky, then the stick is longer. So yeah, it's going to be heavier,
the weight's
the weight and everything.
yeah.
Even though it's the same taper, it's still further. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
So
science.
a lot of drummers love that. And
Yeah.
Los Cabos gives the option.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of drumstick sizes.
Yeah.
Um, and not to turn this into like, an advertisement per se.
Amen.
But
That's-
there's 5B, there's 7A, like you mentioned. There's 5A. 5A is probably the most popular, most commonly used drumstick. So, you know, the sizes will vary, the dimensions, the length is usually 16 or 16.5. There's a couple that are, 7A is 15.5. So it's even shorter than a 5B. But it's thinner and the taper is about the same. So yeah, there's all kinds of, um, 55AB. So it's like a combination of a 5A and a 5B.
So like a 5A is I used to play those, like, for
Mhm.
sure. That was kind of just my natural, like, oh, this is what you do. You get the 5A, and the 5Bs when I was a kid too felt a little heavier.
Mhm.
So if you're a younger person or smaller, on the smaller side, uh 5A might be a great option. A 7A or something like that might be too, but 5A
Mhm.
it is your classic. And I'm so not a gear guy. I sound like, it's your classic. That's my go-to word to describe anything. It's your classic stick, folks. But it is a classic stick. It's just because it is so versatile and it works so well.
Mhm.
And I would also say if you uh, play like if you play loud, and if you've ever been told you should play less loud or
Mhm.
something, like, or you feel like you might have to, maybe going down a size in the stick is not a bad idea too. So even though you're, that's a thing with more control, play with the bigger sticks and still
Yeah.
be able to play quieter and what have you.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, you crack a cymbal too hard anyway, that's a common thing that, like,
Mhm.
I was very stubborn about not wanting to hit cymbals too hard, and I've finally come around starting to play more musically. But anyway, a bit of an aside, but a smaller stick can help you. Although you can still play very loud with a small stick, and you can play quietly with a thicker stick. So,
Yeah.
but
Um,
all things being equal, you play a little bit. It's just a little less little less force coming down on the drum because there's a little less mass in your hand.
Yeah.
Physics.
I've got some 5A maple white dip. So these are dipped in white paint.
Okay.
It's a 5A. Can't see it. This is terrible. My camera. Okay. So this is a 5A. Take my word for it. It's 5A maple.
Mhm.
So this is the 16-inch length, much smaller than the 5B. You can tell just by looking at that.
Mhm.
Even the tip is smaller, you can see. So yeah, definitely. And so I have these for if I need to play like a little kind of a little coffee shop or a little club gig, you know. They're a
Mhm.
lot lighter. Especially the maple is lighter than the hickory.
Do they
So
mark up your toms or anything like that? The white?
the white,
Yeah.
cymbals a little bit, especially if I'm like hitting the bells in my hi-hats, but it comes right off.
Yeah, that's cool. That's something just a quick aside too. That those anytime there's a colored stick, that might happen.
Mhm.
You're kind of trading a cool looking stick
Yeah.
for like a little bit of mess.
Yeah.
Which can come off quite easily, as
Yeah.
Dre mentioned. But, just so you know.
I've been using 5B Intense for my side project. But when I'm playing with Six Gun Smoke, if I'm playing in a bigger room or bigger venue, I do use rock.
Nice.
Sometimes they feel like baseball bats.
Yeah.
But I have these are for me. Phil made these special for me. Is the rock white dips. You
Wicked.
can't get these in stores. So rock white dip.
Show
Um,
off.
Hey man, I was doing a tour of the factory during ECMA weekend, and Phil's a great guy. Shout out to Phil. He's our artist representation. So he works with all of us, and so I was helping out with the ECMAs and stuff, and we were doing the tour of the factory, and I saw some white dip sticks, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to have some white dips, but I use rock, so you don't make them. And he's like, maybe I could. This is my Phil impression, by the way. Maybe I could hook you up with that. So anyway, here they are. So thank you,
Must be
Phil.
nice. Oh,
Must
that's
be
great. That's
nice.
really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, they do different colors and stuff like that. But I always like the look of white sticks. And one of my favorite drummers, Eric Sandin from NoFX, he uses white sticks from a different company. So I always kind of wanted to, homage to Smelly and use some white sticks. Plus, they just look so cool on stage, man.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so rock sticks are massive. They're 16 3/4 inch long, so they're super long. The taper is short, so it's not as long.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel really heavy in the front end as well.
Yeah.
And I believe it's an oval tip.
Yes.
So it's a lot denser, especially on the cymbals.
What do you
And they're
call these
just
tips? Acorn.
acorn. Yeah. And these
Is
are
there
ball
something
tip.
called a barrel tip? Is that a thing?
Yes. Yep. Barrel tips, I think, are on the 8As and the 3As. I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm just too nerdy.
I love it, man.
Yeah, oval tip is on the rock stick, and the 8As have a ball tip. Jazz have a barrel tip. So we'll have, like I said, we're
Cool.
going to have somebody on here to talk about the tips of drumsticks and kind of get into the why and the
Give
reasoning behind
some
that.
tips.
The tips on tips.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked drumsticks a little bit. We'll take a break because we got
Long
some other
enough.
stuff to get to.
Okay,
Um,
give me your second drummer.
oh God. Okay. Recently discovered.
Okay.
We'll do that because we'll save the always there for
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the okay. So recently discovered. This isn't a new drummer by any means. He's been on the scene for like ever, but for some reason I never got around. I'd see it and not my genre or but this guy is an insane drummer. What he can do with a kick, snare, and hi-hat is just incredible. Like he does drum solos with just that. Like it's ridiculous. Nate Smith.
Yeah.
If you've not listened to Nate Smith, listen to it. He's in like a bazillion projects. One of his cooler projects is the the Fearless Flyers. They're a they're a 4-piece instrumental band. So there's 2 guitar players, a bass player, and him, and it's just insanely good.
Yeah,
So
Groove City.
Groove City is right, man. It's kind of got like a surf element to it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, super cool.
Yeah, they
But yeah,
did that like I mean, music spoke for itself, but like when they started doing those videos and
mhm,
all the dudes just like all look kind of dressed the same and just
yeah,
not moving and just the heads moving and like
yeah,
that was so good.
yeah. So have you been a Nate Smith fan for?
Yeah, I'm just making sure that that I don't say the wrong thing about him because I'm pretty sure.
Okay, doing
Uh, I'm
some
just doing a
research.
quick research. Yes, of course. Okay, I was just making sure that I wasn't going to be like I loved him in this, and it wasn't him. But I first heard Nate Smith in Dave Holland's band. Dave Holland is a jazz bassist,
Okay.
um, and so like I heard, yeah, it was like playing with him, and the music was like pretty different than the Fearless Flyer stuff.
Hmm.
Um, kind of like odd time signatures and what have you, but like just so awesome. So like when I saw him starting to do the Fearless Flyer stuff, I was like super cool. It's so cool. Like what surprised more like drummers that were coming from the jazz world weren't like crossing over
Hmm.
because they're just like so just by they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah,
Like it would just not a big deal to
I
switch
think
over to a 4/4 rock groove
mm, I think
or
that's probably
funk or
what
whatever.
kept me away from getting into his stuff. Is he's known for jazz, and jazz
Hmm.
scares the living daylights out of me because it's so hard,
Yeah.
and I know that without even trying it. Just like you say, the odd time signatures. Just, I mean, jam oriented is cool because like you can jam out with your band and your bandmates and just kind of go off. Like Zeppelin used to do it all the time, so it's common in rock. Like Queens of the Stone Age, and when they just kind of go on these extra long detours before they come back into
Hmm.
whatever song that they're jamming to. Um, but for some reason, jazz just always just I always kept it at arm's length.
Hmm.
Um,
It is tough because it's another language of music. Like
mhm,
there's that's why there's a rock jam. You say like yeah, that's true. That's improvising in a way, and there you're jamming, but it's you're speaking a different language when you're playing
mhm,
jazz. Like this, the sound is different generally, and just yeah, the vocabulary is different. So like
mhm.
the kinds of things that you would play, and it's very subtle. So I get it. I started
So you started it with,
well,
well, I
kind
mean,
of.
you have
I
a jazz
started.
background.
I don't want to. My one of my drummers I've chosen. I started listening to him. He was like my always there, and he
Okay.
wasn't jazz at all. But uh, so I started there. But then yeah, like then around like high school age, I started like getting more serious about jazz, and I had like friends that were into it, and they kind of guided me into. I just followed their lead. Really, it was really lucky to have them around. And yeah, I mean, I won't claim to have ever gotten really, really good at it, but I probably really sucked at it for a long, long time.
Mhm.
And then like not until like I like went to school and like went practiced a lot and then played with people every single day, start to finally like, okay, I kind of starting to sound like a jazz drummer.
Yeah.
It's just so it is tough. It's a
Mhm.
toughie.
So
But
when you're
anyway.
okay, so if we take a little detour before we get to your recently discovered pick, um, the like you say, the vocabulary in jazz to rock is different. Like,
Hmm.
how did you go from playing because you went to school and studied jazz,
Hmm.
but you moonlit as a rock drummer on the side? So how like the whole two sides of the same coin, I guess? Like, how did you kind of flip the coin? Like, was it easy to transition from one to the other, or did it always kind of take you like, some getting used to going back to jazz from playing a rock gig?
No, I think like there's also a ton of crossover. They're both it's all music in that way. It's all the same coin. But I think even with rock too, I think the it can go the other way too, where you can be a really good jazz drummer, but there's a certain feel and sound to rock music that I think as a jazz drummer you can look at it and like look down your nose on it and think, oh, that's very easy to do. And like, yeah, technically you might be able to do it, but like, or approximate it, but there's like the sound and the way you there's an authenticity to that music as well,
Hmm.
to rock music that and I guess it just comes down to the musician and just having like, we talked in another episode about like transcribing songs, learning songs. Like, I mean, that's one of the best ways to learn jazz too, is to transcribe, like learn a solo note for note, learn what someone like like when they're comping for someone else, like soloing what they're doing. Like it's a perfect way to learn a vocabulary. And same with the rock stuff. Like, so I actually feel like when I came out of that, like I was playing in cover bands and stuff. I'm probably doing like a fine job, and then kind of like playing like, I don't know, kind of jazz inspired rock, almost fusion, but not really, not fusion, but like kind of jazz inspired jams. And then, yeah, I mean, by the time like I joined like this band Flash Lightning in Toronto, and then by Danko as well, I felt like I was putting myself through school again to like, no,
Hmm.
I gotta like, this is different. And then with Danko again, like it was a different sound. It's like,
Hmm.
it's hard rock. It's like, it's way harder than the other things. So you kind of got to like learn a new language.
And the physicality too, because
And of
playing
course,
playing jazz where you're sitting back and you're kind of grooving along, and you're you know doing all these rudimental things, and then attack the drum kit, like make them
exactly.
hear you in the back, like
Yeah. Yeah.
rim shots.
Not to say that you wouldn't play loud and aggressive with jazz, and that it doesn't have like, especially if you're playing like really up tempo things, there's
Oh
those
yeah,
things
yeah, for sure.
100%. But I'm not just like, just being contrarian to be, but you're right. There is like definitely, I just wanted to say that for any like
Yeah, yeah,
jazz drummer out there is like, what are you talking about? It is hard, and it is. But yes, there's much less like the subtlety that is in jazz, and the dynamics that are in jazz offer you more chances to catch your breath than like
yeah,
full on. You're basically within a range of like this, like
yeah.
a small range of like loud to louder,
Right.
almost,
Yeah, yeah.
almost with the rock stuff. A few quiet moments, but
Cool.
yeah. Anyway,
Awesome. All right. So who's your pick for recently discovered?
all right. Well, okay. One of like the hardest hitting drummers I've ever seen is a recently discovered, and this is like a couple of years, but like I didn't know we were picking one of each. So that's my excuse for like this. Like I've known about this drummer for a couple of years, but like
Well,
out of all the drummers, this is the one I've known the least amount of time.
yeah, recently discovered doesn't mean like yesterday.
Right. Okay, right. Well, and I'm probably gonna I hope I don't butcher his name, but Eloy Casagrande, the drummer in Sepultura.
Yes.
Uh, oh, dude, just
His
like
Instagram feed is I
uh
every day I check it out and I rewatch
yeah,
stuff all the time.
it's just it's like all of the um like technical and independent stuff of like many jazz drummers or like Latin drummers or whatever, but
Hmm.
then just like you're talking about like the physicality, like the
Yeah.
physicality of what he does, it just blows my mind. And like he broke his leg a year ago or 2 years ago or something, and he was like, I was in my head, I was like, it won't take him much time to bounce back because he's so strong as just a human. And
Yeah.
sure enough, he was like back to drumming
Oh yeah.
in a few months. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
He's a
it
physical specimen too. Like he's just
oh yeah,
so
Eloy
looks.
Casagrande. Um, look him up on Instagram if you don't know, and you're just like, you want to just be wowed by somebody's
Mm,
like and like accuracy. Like it's
oh man.
very like it's 100%. Like it's not just power. It's extreme power and
Hmm.
extreme
Yeah.
like precision.
Yeah. It's not just power. It's
No,
extreme power.
it's
Like
extreme power. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Kind of,
Like
yeah.
he.
It's humbling. But anyway, I love watching him play.
Hmm.
Um, got to see him play like from side stage before, and it's every bit as impressive there. You're just like what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I bet. Yeah, because just the like you say, like his vocabulary and his ghost notes and everything is just so, it's like everything's at 11. Like,
Yeah.
even like you can tell it's a ghost note because of what he's playing, but his ghost note would be like me hitting the drum at a regular volume. You know what I mean? Because everything else is just so amped up.
Yeah. It's
But
just so good.
if anyone that's seen him on Instagram and stuff, like he's got like little club gigs that he plays
Yeah.
where he's just, improvising and playing like some jazzy fusion stuff. And
Yeah.
he's playing it exactly how it, like, you know, like it's powerful because of his style, his way that he attacks the drum kit, but all the subtleties are there. Like he's playing
Yeah.
everything the way it should be. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah. And
he's
he
definitely,
won the Metal Drummer of the Year, voted by, I guess, the fans on the Drumeo Metal Drummer of the Year 2022.
yes. Oh yeah,
Not that
he's
that's his crowning achievement. I think just his playing is his crowning
yeah,
achievement.
just
But
existing is,
yeah,
it's a blessing for the rest of us. Yeah,
but
he's definitely,
I just saw that as I was
yeah,
looking up the name of his other group.
yeah, he's definitely inspirational. Yeah, because you watch him play and you're just like, oh, I need to do that. I need to get better.
Yeah, man.
Try
Yeah.
and, iron sharpens iron, right? So
Hey, there we go.
you wanna get better and improve. It's, draw inspiration from somewhere, and he's definitely
Yeah, all with love. Draw the
all with love.
inspiration, and
Yeah,
it's all.
hundred
It's good that we're
percent.
different. It's good that we're different, but
Yeah, for sure.
some of us just hit
Really
7
hard.
times harder than others
I mean,
and pull it off somehow.
I definitely, why I use the sticks that I use, like, you know, it there's definitely a different approach when you're playing, like you said earlier, when you're, choosing a smaller stick for a smaller venue or a different style of music, style of play. So when I'm with Six Gun Smoke, it's full on, uh, attack, try and break every drum head and cymbal that I'm hitting with every shot. So the rock sticks definitely, it's aggressive music. It's,
Yeah.
so yeah. Um, I wonder what size drumsticks he uses because they don't look like small 7/8s.
No,
But so if we're gonna switch gears and go to drumsticks
I'm gonna
again,
make it up and say that he plays two Bs.
I'd say it's definitely a 2B, or it's bigger than a 5B for sure. Um,
Okay, I can see.
so-
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm gonna.
okay, so in addition to the standard drumstick sizes and whatnot, Los Cabos also have different types of sticks, and this is one that's called a multi-stick.
Mhm.
This was in a little gift bag that Phil gave me when I was driving through Fredericton. It's a multi-stick, so it's a 3A as far as the dimensions, a 3A. So it's got like a ball tip. It's made out of maple, and it has a mallet on the back. And this is hand crafted. This is attached by hand, not by a machine. This is made with love and care from the fine folks at Los Cabos
That's awesome.
Drumsticks. So a
The
multi-stick.
sharp
So
looking.
yeah, so these are great. Like, have them in your stick bag, and if you need to do like cymbal swells real quick,
Yeah.
and kind of grab them and then switch it over to a stick for a 3A. It's not a 5B or a rock. So but it's a good size stick. A lot of guys use a 3A. And it's got a mount in the back. So this is definitely an option to have. Good to have in your stick bag.
Super cool.
So, and haven't been able to use these yet because my country western gig isn't going on.
Is that your belt buckle? Oh no, that's not.
No, some brushes.
Okay.
Haven't had an opportunity to use brushes yet, but these are the clean sweeps. So they're the nylon brush.
Right on.
So with a white hickory tip.
Mm-hmm.
They're non-retractable. So definitely, and because of nylon, they'll, if you stick them in your bag and they're all bent, and they're going to keep
Oh
that
yeah.
shape for a while. So you want to make sure
Yeah.
that they're stored in a nice straight
Mm.
way, just to not warp them.
Yeah. Brush
and
problems.
that's just nylon. That's how it works. It's plastic. It's bendy. So brushes. So what are do you have any?
I got an update.
Oh,
I got an update on Eloy.
okay.
Apparently, this just in, unless it's changed according to the website, he plays 5Bs.
No way.
Yeah. Now it's
He
a
must
different
go
company,
through a
and I
lot of
don't know
sticks.
this. I don't know the stats. I don't know the numbers on the what their numbers are. If it's 5.598 or what, but
It's within a threshold of like point whatever
yeah,
it would class, because once it gets to a certain between a certain threshold of size, then it moves up or down a classification. I don't know what the threshold is, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Los Cabos are on the higher end of the threshold, so they're almost flirting with going up a size as far as the 5B.
interesting.
Yeah, I can tell you that perhaps the reason why you're playing better with Los Cabos is because they are slightly thicker than the previous brand you were using, and probably feels better in your hand and feel more confident and more powerful because of that. Just saying.
They do. They feel good.
Yeah.
It feels like a maple, but it's not a maple.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Because maple sticks generally have a lighter feel to them. Like
Yeah,
the
and
density
like a
feels different.
softness, but a hardness at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. That's
Yeah.
why it's a classic. It's just a classic feel. It's a classic hard,
It's
soft feel.
classic.
It's a
Yeah.
classic soft to hard feel in the stick.
Such a nerd.
How these episodes get approved is beyond me. I guess they
Um,
stopped listening by this point.
probably. So as I showed earlier, I have a 5B red hickory. So I was using these for a little while. I played, God, I can't even tell you how many rehearsals I used this drumstick. Um, so this is the rim shot of the 5B
Nice.
red hickory,
There you go.
and then this is the cymbal chew up from the
Nice.
hats. Um, and I could confidently sit down for a gig and play this stick and probably get through most of my set, if not all of it,
There
without
you go.
with probably by the time it would break, if it would break. At this point, it's sort of I'd rather have a fresh stick in my hand, so that's
Yeah.
why I don't have it in my stick bag. But yeah, and this is just red hickory is super durable. Yeah, that's that.
There you go.
So are we gonna
Yeah.
are
One
we
more
do we have
drummer.
more drumstick stuff you
One
want to talk
more.
about, or do you want to go
I,
to the last drummer?
I want to talk about a drummer.
Okay. So I went first the second time,
Yeah.
so you go first
All
this
right.
time.
My drummer is like almost the toppest of top shelf picks. So I realize I'm not trying to go deep and find like a cool.
Would you
I mean, he is
say
cool. He is cool, but he's not like who
would you say
you would
he's the
never
crown
say.
royal of drummers?
Oh wow,
You like that?
I do like that. He could
Considering
be.
what just came out, did you see the Super Bowl ads?
No, I didn't. I
Okay, anyway, I gave it away.
well, not to me, anybody that else that didn't watch the Super Bowl, but it's
Okay.
Dave Grohl, Crown Royals #1 pick for the Super Bowl. I don't know. I didn't see the thing, but
He did an ad campaign for Crown Royal for the Super
oh,
Bowl. There's like
nice.
4 or 5 little advertisements that he did. One where he's reading the script because he does like a voiceover for all the things that
Okay.
was made in Canada. It's sort of a
Oh,
thank you Canada.
oh,
So it's like, the wheelchair, Hawaiian pizza, like all these things that were invented in Canada.
okay.
So it's kind of funny. But the whole thing is that I can't remember her name now. She plays the national anthem, the Canadian national anthem on electric guitar. It's unbelievable.
Cool.
So check it out. It's really cool. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Anyway, back to you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
so Dave
Dave
Grohl,
Grohl,
yes,
a little known drummer named Dave Grohl was
little guy.
is my pick for, I guess, Always There. That's my Always There pick
Wait,
because
so Dave Grohl,
Dave Weckl was your Always There. Dave Grohl is my Always There. Although Dave Weckl, I also comes very close to being the Always There.
Dave Weckl isn't my always there, but he's always been there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but
Okay,
I didn't
Dave
think
Grohl's always been there then.
so. Dave Grohl plays the drums. I thought he was the singer guitar player for Foo Fighters. I knew they
No,
always looked alike.
no, dude. He was the. You know what? I was speaking, and why I picked him is like he came up in a conversation the other night.
Mhm.
I was having with a friend, another drummer, and we were talking about both having seen him play with them Crooked Vultures,
Oh,
which is so good. And I never saw him play with Nirvana. Like
same.
Danko like saw like the Nevermind tour or something like that. It seems like kind of a,
Yeah. Well,
of course he was there,
of course he
but
was there. Well, I mean, Nirvana didn't tour New Brunswick or PEI back in
nah,
the day.
man, I know that's the thing, eh?
Yeah,
But that's just it, eh?
living in
But
Toronto, so
yeah, those guys up there, eh? Get all the shows.
up in the big smoke.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I did and when I was in Toronto, actually, I saw him play with them Crooked Vultures, and I I just thought like, okay, like I'd seen grew up on Nirvana, like learning Nirvana tunes. This is like
Mhm.
before cover bands, before these are like in my first bands. Like these are like
Yeah.
some of the first songs. Not the first song. First song I ever learned was Rage Against the Machine song. But uh then like basically Nirvana was like number 2 through 10 songs like that I've learned.
That whole
And then
Nevermind album.
yeah, pretty much. And yeah, anyway, saw him and I saw the videos of like the Queens of the Stone Age, when they're playing like what's that song, Avon or Avalon or something, or like the
Avon.
or
Yeah.
Avon,
Yeah.
yeah, and the
When he
big
took
drum
the
fill,
when he took the break from Foo Fighters and toured with
yeah,
Queens. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and I mean that just was incredible. So I was like, okay, he's obviously still incredible. And then I like heard the them Crooked Vultures, so like, wow, this is really good. Then I saw it live, and I mean, just like the other drummers on my list, but like when you see him do it live, it's like, holy shit, this is like as I get, like I got all like, this is why you are you. This is
Hmm.
so good. Like everything, like, and that's what I was talking about. Like he would freely admit he's not like the most technical drummer in the world, but that just goes to show that doesn't matter in terms of it's music in a way. So it's like
Hmm.
however well you can execute the sound, or like you have the sound that people like, and that and so that was like, and that's what I was saying about like that jazz thing to the rock thing, like his sound
Hmm.
was so good and the
Hmm.
feel was so good. That's like, and not to mention that it was flawless playing. And as I was joking with my friend the other night, like it didn't hurt to have John Paul Jones playing bass with you, like as your rhythm section partner.
Right.
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt,
No.
making you sound pretty good. Um, it was because it was just incredible. But yeah, his sound and just like the performance was flawless. Like just was like, that is next level. And then
Hmm.
apparently they went to this bar in Toronto after, this rock bar, and um, called Cherry Colas, and I guess the whole band went there. And it might not have been after the show I saw, but it was when my friend of a friend was there,
Yeah.
and he said he was chatting with Dave Grohl, and they were all at the bar, and like they both just were kind of facing the same way, and John Paul Jones was like standing in front of them, like getting a drink or something, and like my buddy says like to Dave Grohl, like, that's John Paul Jones, man. And even Dave Grohl's like, I know. That's like, that's just a nice story to be like, yeah,
That's
man.
the other thing about Dave is like they say he's like the nicest guy in rock, but it's just because he's so relatable. He seems like, the
Yeah,
guy that you would see at the bar and have a drink with and, just talk about John Paul
yeah,
Jones or whatever. Like
totally.
he's such a fan of music
Yeah,
and just the community of musicians. Like,
yeah. And I don't care. I'll fawn over, like, I think he's great, and I'll leave it at that.
yeah.
To
Well, he's the
fanboy
reason
too
why I
much,
picked up
but
drumsticks. I mean, other
yeah,
than like my brother and that stuff, but like as far as thinking that I could actually play the drums and be in a band was through seeing guys like him in Nirvana. Like,
yeah,
that was the inspiration to want to like, okay, get together with my buddies and play really bad cover versions of,
yeah. I
I
know
think
it
my
because it
first
looked
one.
easy. You thought
Yeah.
he made it look easy. It's like, oh, I could do that, and then, but yeah, you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could
You could
play what he was
approximate it.
playing, but you
Yeah,
definitely didn't sound like him.
that's it. Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
It's like, well, I'm playing the same thing. Why doesn't it sound right? It's like,
Yeah,
well, because you're not him.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like I think the first Nirvana song that I think I learned was probably Lithium.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's like played along to, kind of, in learning them, but not really fully learning the song like 100% was probably Lithium from when they played at the MTV Music Awards. That time that he was calling out Axl Rose and Chris threw the bass up and hit himself in the head and knocked himself out. That was back when MTV had musicians and stuff.
Music. Yeah.
Music. Um, so okay, so my always there. So this is a guy I've been listening to for a long time. I was going to pick Dave Grohl, but we can't both pick Dave Grohl,
I'm
and
glad
we
you
didn't
did.
consult each other either on
No.
this list. But this is the guy that I've probably been listening to the most consistently for the last, I want to say, since 2002, is Joey Castillo,
Nice.
who did, replace Dave after he went back to his commitments with Foo Fighters, to play with Queens of the Stone Age. But Castillo played with Danzig, Sugartooth before that. He's since left Queens of the Stone Age and now plays with Zach Sabbath, which is Zach Wild's project, him and Blasco, which is a complete Sabbath tribute. I have the vinyl of their recreation of the first Sabbath album. Amazing. Like, oh,
Cool.
God, it's so good. If you haven't listened to it,
I haven't.
okay, I have the digital copy. I'm going to send it to you.
Nice.
It's insanely good. So good. And they're going to redo the next, I think, album 2 and 3. So Masters of Reality and Paranoid. They're going to redo those as well. Anyway,
Nice.
so Queens
You
of
know
the
what's
Stone
great?
Age, Zach, what?
Just quick aside. A little bit of heavy metal harmonica. Speaking of Black Sabbath. Anyway.
Yeah,
Not
the
enough of
Wizard.
that. Not enough of that
Yeah,
out there. I know.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, no, go on.
Um, so since he left Queens, he's played in Blast. He's currently a full-time member of the Bronx out of Los Angeles, not to be confused with the Bronx, New York.
Hmm.
Probably my favorite punk band going right now. A lot of that's because of Joey's contributions. And he's now playing with Circle Jerks as well on tour. So classic punk rock band. Um, so good. And he adds so much. He can play anything and he plays it with such power and
Yeah.
technicality. And
Yeah.
I know people used to kind of crap on him when he first joined Queens because he played everything so fast. Like everything was from like the regular tempo. It was probably like 1.8 or 2.0, like to almost twice the speed. Like, but that's not a him thing. That's a band thing. Like you don't like that. Those are conversations the band has, and he would have been told, okay, we need to play these faster. Like that would have come from Josh or the rest of the guys. Because if I'm in the room and I'm playing that fast, and the guys are like, "Whoa, slow it down." Okay, I'll
Yeah.
slow it down. But consistently playing the songs that much faster was, something he could do because he could handle it. But the band was clearly okay with it, and I don't think it was him making that suggestion anyway. But anyway, that's just.
Yeah.
I know
No.
a lot of people were in the message boards like, "Oh, Joey's too fast, or he's messing it up, and it's not the same feel." It's like, no. To me, John Theodore has since replaced him in Queens of the Stone Age, and John Theodore's a monster player. He's amazing. Like Mars Volta stuff is just insane. But to me, Joey Castillo is the guy for Queens of the Stone Age. Like that was the best lineup when he was in it.
Nice.
Just my opinion. But anyway,
Nice. Yeah. No.
he's my guy. Yeah, hands down.
Hell yeah. And I was telling you, Blood Clot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard about this. This could have been my recently discovered album because there's an album out by the band Blood Clot, which again Danko turned me on to, or JC did actually, and Danko. And the album is called Souls, as in, sell your souls, and it's by Blood Clot. And Joe Castillo's playing the drums, and it's wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's my
you got to
playlist
check it
for
out. It's
tomorrow.
like it's almost like hard to believe it's real. It's so good.
Is
You
it
hear it and you're
Christmas
like, is
morning?
this real?
Yeah,
No, it's so
yeah.
good.
I'm really looking forward to that. I meant to listen to that album anyway, and I had no idea he played on it.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, it doesn't surprise me because he's literally everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he's a good follow on Instagram too. He's got some really cool stuff,
nice.
some
I'll
cool
check
drum
that.
clips, some live clips and stuff.
Yeah, another powerful drummer.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And I've actually another guy that's super cool and chill to talk with because I've had messages back and forth with him on Instagram about drum gear and stuff, like talking
oh,
about
cool.
kick pedals and using just one drum skin. Like all my toms, I don't have rezos. I just have the batter toms.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a little thing I'm working on, but yeah, so I only use top skins. I don't have the resin heads.
Right on.
Yeah. So
I
that's
didn't
a
know that.
conversation I had with him about, okay, so because I love his drums, I always loved his drum sound. I always sounded so big and massive, but also dry. So anyway, so I was just picking his brain about it, and he was super cool and gave me all kinds of different tips and
That's rad.
stuff like that. So yeah,
Super cool.
it's always cool when people are nice.
They're cool. Yeah.
So I didn't have anything else drumstick related. I
No,
think
me
that's
neither. I think that's pretty good. This is a
yeah.
good length. Good
I
length of
think I think we're
podcast.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go check out Los Cabos drumsticks. They're available at most music stores in Canada at Long McQuaid. If you have any questions about drumsticks, clearly you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Rich. Send us a message on our Instagrams, Dre
Yeah.
_SGS.
Rich Knox drums.
And also email us at lcdquarternotes@gmail.com. So any questions, concerns, comments, feedback, whatever, give us a shout and subscribe to the Los Cabos YouTube channel. And till the next one.
Till the next one.
All right, cool.
Later.
Bye-bye.